Just like regular major and minor scales, pentatonic scales and blues scales also have a relative major and minor relationship, where essentially there's pairs of them, a major and a minor that each have the same notes, but they just start on a different note. That will all make sense soon. I'm going to show you how to find them in a practical, visual way, and to do that we just have to move one note. This is a follow-up to my last video, which went over some easy ways to find pentatonic scales and blues scale shapes on piano using chords to help. Definitely watch that if you haven't, I'll link it below. But this is going to help tie everything together. This is the C major pentatonic scale. You can see that the top note is A. That's the 6th. Remember, in a major pentatonic, we have 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. In the last video, we talked about how it's like a major scale, but with 4 and 7 removed. So if I just take that A, the 6th, on top, and I move it to the bottom, like that, that gives us the A minor pentatonic scale. You can see it's literally just the same notes, but with a new starting point, a new first note in the sequence. C major had C as number 1, the tonic, and now A minor has A as number 1. That's the new tonic. C major pentatonic, A minor pentatonic. And remember, that starting note is really important because that's the tonal center of the music, the resolution point. In A minor, it sounds complete and stable on the note A. And now it sounds finished and settled on C in C major. If we have a new number 1 now, a new starting note, whilst all the actual notes are the same, the note names are the same, we'll number them all differently because they're in a different position in the sequence now. As the intervals, they're measuring how far the notes are away from the starting note. So before, C was number 1 because it's the starting note, but now C is 1, 2, 3. It's a third. A, B, C. It's 3 letters through the sequence. And in this case, a minor third. When C was 1, D was number 2. 1, 2. But now C's 3, like we just said. So D's now 4. Now you may have noticed that this relationship, C major and A minor pentatonic, is the same as the C major scale and the A natural minor scale, which are related. They have the same notes. That's the handy thing about this. All the pairings are the same keys. And this works with blues scales too. Here's the C major blues scale. I've just added the E flat on top of the C major pentatonic. Remember, as we went over in the last video, a major blues scale is the same as a major pentatonic plus the minor third, or we can say the flat 3, just a half step below the major third. And I can still do the same thing as before, even though we've added a note. I take the 6th from the top, which is A in this key, and I put it on the bottom. So the C major blues scale becomes the A minor blues scale. The E flat is still there, but now we call it a flat 5 instead of a flat 3. It was a flat 3 when we measured how far it was from C, but now it's from A. So A, B, C, D, E, that's 5, A, B, C, D, E. And that would be a perfect 5th, so the one below a perfect 5th is the flat 5. Okay, so we can look at this key as an example of how all the keys work. The notes A and C are a minor third apart. Here to here is a minor third, or we can say 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3. And that's the relationship all these relative major and minor keys have. There's a minor here, and there's a major this side, and then there's a minor third between them. That's one way you can find them. If you're on a minor, blues or pentatonic scale, you just look to the next one in the scale, which is a minor third up, and that's going to be the starting note for the relative major. Or you can just take the bottom one off and put it on the top, and there's your relative major. If you're on the major and you're trying to find the minor, you look to the sixth, and that's going to be your starting note for the relative minor, or you can just take the top one off and put it on the bottom. But let's look at some examples in other keys so this makes sense, so you can see how the relationship is the same. This is the G major pentatonic scale. If I just look at the top note, the sixth, that's E, put it on the bottom. The relative minor is the E minor pentatonic scale. If I turn that into the G major blues scale, it's going to be exactly the same. By taking the top note off, the sixth, and starting from that note underneath, that gives me the E minor blues scale. E and G are a minor third apart. This key is the F sharp major pentatonic scale. Now this is a good one to learn because it only uses black keys, which makes it a bit easier for beginners to get started with things like improvisation, because it's easy to avoid any wrong notes. But just like before, if I take off the top note, the sixth, that's D sharp in this case, and I put it on the bottom, that's going to become the D sharp minor pentatonic. Again, those keys are a minor third or 3 half steps apart. 1, 2, 3. But I can also make that a blues scale, the F sharp major blues scale. Now this will of course add 1 white key in there, but that can still be turned into the D sharp minor blues scale just by doing the same thing. Top note off the top and put it on the bottom. This is the A major pentatonic scale, and if we take off the top note again, the sixth, which is F sharp, put it on the bottom, that gives us the relative minor F sharp minor pentatonic. And of course again, F sharp and A are a minor third apart. 1, 2, 3 half steps. And just like before, I can also do that if it becomes the A major blues scale. Still just take off the top note, and the A major blues scale becomes the F sharp minor blues scale. All these relative major and minor relationships are written out on the circle of fifths, which just essentially organises all the keys going round clockwise in fifths. But you can see which majors and minors are related. I do have a PDF available with a recap of all this theory and a complete glossary of every major and minor pentatonic and blues scale. There's a PDF with major scales, one with minor scales. They have all the fingerings. There's a big chord building reference sheet too. All the information's in my videos, but I created those for people to have a handy reference in front of them when they're practicing, and downloading those really helps support the channel as well. But also, if you could click the like button, that really helps out a video and really helps out the channel. Next up, I recommend watching this video, which talks about some common mistakes you really want to avoid that I see beginners making time and time again. Let me know down below if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.